in Spain.
We are in Spain, northern Spain. I don't know if you can see in the distance, there's snow on top of those mountains over there. But we wanted to put a little video out about our experience recently of doing the application for the B2 visa for the United States.
A B2 non-immigrant tourist visa. And what that allows us to do is to stay 6 months in America at a time rather than the ESTA, which you do online, most people get, which allows a 90-day stay. And the reason we want 6 months in America is because
we're going to the States.
Walter's going on a little cruise.
We're putting them on a ship, a cargo ship, end of February. And of course, if we're going to go to all that trouble, we do want to stay in the States for more than 3 months. So we applied for the 6 months visa. And what we thought would be a good idea, might help some people, is if we just say how we did, what we did. A lot of it will pertain to our circumstances. So
yeah, it's just our experience. You have to go to an embassy and have an interview. So we're going to talk you through the process of what we did to get there.
Yeah.
And then at the end you'll find out whether our visa was approved or not.
yeah, true. So
Mara might have already given a spoiler at the beginning.
It's a spoiler alert. Yeah, there's 3 processes. One is actually the online application for the B2, the D160. The form is called a D160, isn't it? And that's all an online application. And then the second part is actually booking the appointment. Once you've filled out the form and they've got all your details, you're allowed then to go through to online and book an appointment. And then the third process, of course, is rocking up at the US Embassy, which was exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's a lovely day, isn't it?
Oh, God, it's quite a gorgeous walk.
You can feel that sun getting hotter all the time. So the first thing you have to do to apply for your DS-160 form, it's an online form, an American embassy website. We'll put a link. You have to go online and fill out the form with all your details.
Yeah.
We found it quite difficult, didn't we?
Well, we did.
We spent the whole day doing it, didn't we? You have to do an application for each member that's going to be travelling, so we had to do it twice. And we spent the whole day doing it.
But we kept getting chucked out. That's the reason why. You'd be answering a question and all of a sudden it would close down and you'd be out of the website.
Yeah, and I've read online that lots of people had the same experience. It's so frustrating. Maybe we were using the wrong browser, who knows, but we found it difficult. But you go on, you put your first details in, and the first thing you get is a 10-digit confirmation number. And it's really important that you take a note of that number right away, because when you get chucked out, you need it to get back in, or else you keep making a new application. So take a note of that number right away. It'll allow you to get back in when you get chucked out. Tell us if you don't get chucked out all the time, because we did.
Yeah, maybe it's just us.
User error.
But the questions are then the formality: where do you live? How long you live there? Then it goes on to sort of employment. Want to know what employment you've got and what you've done.
There's lots of different questions. Go through different sections. Your details, your parents' details, their date of birth, employment. Social media was another thing. Any of your social media presence, you need to declare. Also, previous visits to the USA, you have to make sure you've got a note of that. So information to get beforehand, so you can put it in, get it done quicker.
And divorced, if you got previous.
You have to give previous spouses names if you've been married and divorced.
That's right, spouses' names.
Yep. Financial information, addresses, obviously previous addresses if you haven't lived very long at your address. So quite a lot of in-depth personal information, as you would expect.
And during that process as well, it will ask you to upload a photograph, a passport photograph size. Although for the US passport, it's slightly bigger, I think, than the normal UK ones. I think it's 5 centimetres by 5 centimetres.
Yeah, we had to stand outside Walter and take pictures against the white background that day, try and get a picture to upload, rather than wait and go to a kiosk. You can get them from kiosks as well, but we did it ourselves, and they were okay.
But yeah, you have to upload that during the D160 form application. And essentially that whole process is just about gathering information about who you are, where you've been, what you're up to, and that sort of thing, isn't it?
What were some of the other questions?
Oh yeah, passport, of course. You need a valid UK passport for application.
The top tip, yeah, top tip on that.
Top tip was, mine was running out in about nine months' time, of course, so we had to apply for a new one. So we waited till we got the new passport with the new passport number, which will be valid on the application.
Yeah, just to keep all continuity of the paperwork, so you had this new passport number on the application rather than do it before with the old number.
Yeah.
They ask you about any family connections in the US as well, and one that related to us was if you've got any criminal records as well.
Oh yeah, and at this juncture, I will just
You're
say,
come clean.
I'm come clean. Of course, if you've ever been arrested, one of the questions are if you've been arrested, a conviction, or anything like that, you need to tell them about it.
There's no statute of limitations in the US, so it's ever in your whole life of any contact. So.
Yeah. So in the UK, sometimes in certain applications, there's a 5-year spent thing. And about more than 30 years ago, I had a few scrapes with it. So I had to kind of put those down, didn't I?
Yeah, you put those on your application, which meant you had to go to another site and get an ACRO police report to explain those instances of connections with the police. So that's on a separate site.
And that form takes about six to 8 weeks to come. So you've got to get on with that if you are applying for it. To get this ACRO certificate, which I did.
So finish your DS160 application, go through all the pages, you sign it digitally, online there and then the important thing is to physically print out that confirmation page at the end of the process, because you need that multiple times when you get to your embassy. So print it now and keep it.
Yeah.
A couple of copies.
Next step. So next step was the appointment setting, wasn't it?
Yeah, once you've got your DS160 number, then you can go in and make an appointment to visit the embassy for your interview. So that's a non-immigrant application service. It's a different website page. So you can go there, input your details, your DS160 number, and a calendar comes up and you can choose your date that you want to visit, and the embassy, of course, because you don't have to go, you can go to any embassy. We chose London.
We did. We did toy with the idea of going a bit further afield, because we did look, and some other ones in Paris and Dublin, I think they were cheap, or they're
much shorter waiting times.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're in, you can choose somewhere different.
But of course, we stumped for the London embassy.
Yeah. What's the top tip there though that we did?
Well, the top tip for us would be to book the first time of whatever day you choose. You pick off the calendar. Definitely go for the 7:30 one, because you want to be first in the door, don't you?
Yeah, you're told on the site that you can be in the embassy for 4 hours, and that's obviously because there's hundreds of people there every day. It's not just for the B2 application; it's all different types of visas. So, the earlier appointment you get, I think, the quicker that you're in and out. That was our experience and some other people that we've heard about as well. So yeah, choose an early one. It meant we got to London when it was still dark in the morning. That was the only thing.
And we left our home at an ungodly hour. I think it was about 2:30, 2:45. We got the bus into London, and we got there about 6ish or something. Then we walked along the embankment, down to the. It was quite funny. It was quite good. It was quite nice walking through London when there was nobody else around.
It was really different.
It wasn't raining.
It was like the city was just coming to life. I really quite enjoyed it actually. So choose your date, and then you get your interview date confirmation page. Print that as well, because you need that. So print that page too at that point. Saves you having to go back into these sites and do it again. So then at that point, once you've got your appointment date, then of course you've got to pay. And I think it was $185 each.
It was, yeah, $185, yeah.
So you pay at that point and arrange for your passport to be sent back to you. Oh, I've just realised, actually, what you do on the appointment thing is you can choose appointments together. So I made my appointment and I added Martin on to my appointment. So it's a joint appointment.
And you had that 10-digit number that was assigned to me, and it linked us together, didn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So we had the appointment at the same time at the embassy.
So you book your a date that's convenient to you, and you got your right time. You print it all off, and then you're just waiting for the actual trip to London.
Print the payment page off as well.
Yes.
If I haven't already said that, can't remember.
Good
But if I
tip.
haven't, so you've got 3 bits of paperwork: your GS160 confirmation page, your appointment confirmation page, and your payment confirmation page. And they don't let you into the embassy unless you've got the 3 of those. And they all match. So your appointment DS160 number and your DS160 number must match. You can't have different numbers. Taking a breather, 6 miles into our walk. We thought we'd tell you the next stage, which is while you're waiting for your appointment. We had to wait 9 weeks for our embassy appointment in London. And while you're waiting, you can start to gather all your paperwork that you need to take with you for justification and information for your embassy interview.
Because we've read they might ask for that proof of certain things they need to see. One of them was your financial situation, because they want to know that when you go over there, let's say in our case for 6 months, that you can actually afford to be there.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to work, obviously, under the non-immigrant visa. So they sometimes ask for justification that you can fund yourself while you're there for the duration of your trip. We wanted to show ties to the UK. So another thing is that you need to show that you're not going to become an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, you are going to come back.
So we even got our house deeds printed out and information about family and things like that, just to show that we were planning to return.
We really wanted to go for it. We actually, even the quotation to ship Walter from Liverpool out to Baltimore.
You had a nice photograph of Walter as well.
Yeah, we had a photograph
and
of
your
Walter.
V5 document. So anything that you think you might need to justify your trip there.
Yeah. And in our case, we couldn't find out whether we would go up to the window for the interview together or be separate. So we had 2 copies of everything, didn't we?
Everything, yeah.
Just in case we weren't allowed to be together at the interview.
So for anybody else going, if you book your appointment together, as we talked about earlier, then you go through the whole process once you get to the embassy together. They'll ask, you're with somebody else. They can see on the computer that you booked your appointment with somebody else. So you only need 1 copy. We had 2, one's each.
Yeah.
We're very prepared, I thought.
Could you be too prepared, over prepared? But we had folders. We had 2 folders each ready to go, just in case they wanted any proof of anything,
And then you needed your ACRO form.
Oh yeah, I need the ACRO form for the. As we mentioned earlier, if you had any dealings with the police at all, then so I've had this ACRO form that came through, and that went with me up there and came in useful, for sure.
And the other thing is you need to take another photograph with you, so a physical photograph this time. The same, not the UK size. The UK booths do it now. I think the American passport size.
5 centimetres by 5 centimetres, yeah.
So have that with you. And that's gather as much information as you can would be the tip there. Just be prepared, because you'll feel better about it when you get to the interview.
One final thing we had was the itinerary. We even had the itinerary.
Oh yes, we did. That's
we sat
right.
down and planned a rough route of what we might get up to while we're over in the States, just in case they wanted to, they didn't.
Yeah, we'd read that sometimes when people are going on holiday, they'll ask you, and what do you want to see?
So that was it. We were and then I just count down the 9 weeks to our embassy trip, which was getting very exciting. I was getting quite nervous about it.
So then we come to the day of the interview.
The final process. Exciting trip up to London. As we said earlier, we left early. And then we got there about 10 to 7. Our appointment, as you said, was 7:30, 10 to 7. And there's already about 20 people milling around outside waiting when we got there.
Yeah, it's not really very clear when we got there, because there was nothing out. The place hadn't opened yet. Where you stood, so we all just became like sheep and all just herded together and stood about.
And then we started seeing movement about 7:15. People started coming through the other side of the glass and moving things around and getting the security area ready. And then, sure enough, 7:30, they opened the doors and told us to form a queue. And luckily for us, where we were stood, we were more or less at the front of the queue, weren't we?
Yeah.
And they put all these ropes out, and they put a desk outside. Good job it wasn't raining.
So actually, outside the building, what you're going to remember is lots of queuing in this next bit. Just remember queuing. So lots of queues.
Yeah.
And actually, the first one is, as Martin said, it's outside. They bring everything outside that little desk, and that was the first bit. Everybody queued up there.
And that was where we had to show our first set of documents in that Q1, and they wanted to see our confirmation of the DS 160, the appointment, and what else was
and
it?
Your payment confirmation.
Payment.
And they took the passports, your passport at that point as well, and they make sure everything matches. There's a barcode that you have to show as well. So have all that paperwork ready, and all that does is let you through the door, basically.
Yeah. The next stage is like airport security in the sort of hallway there as you just enter the building. They've got security guards there and these scanning machines. You've got
You're not allowed to take big bags in. You're not allowed to take laptops in. Actually, a lady came out and shouted, "Has anybody got a laptop?"
Mm-hmm.
So you're not allowed multiple bags or a laptop at all. There is a cafe, I think, across the road that will store your stuff for you for a fee, obviously. We didn't have anything like that, so we go in, take all your stuff off like you're in an aeroplane, and then you get through to the next bit, to another queue.
You do, yeah, in a bit of a courtyard. So after you clear that airport security thing, you go through to the courtyard, and they want to see all your documents again, and they check
those three bits of paper that we talked about again, and they give you like a bookmark and tell you where to go. Up into a lift and up to the floor that you're going to be on, and all the next stages are on the same floor. Just lots of queuing in different areas upstairs.
There are lots of staff pointing you in the right direction if you're not sure which way to go, which was quite helpful, I thought, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, they were really, really helpful. Yeah, they know they need to go. So the next queue, once you get upstairs, the first one is intake.
And they, again, finally check all your paperwork and make sure it's all in order, don't they?
Yes, and that's where it's uploading your photograph. So you need the photograph at that point, and they'll input your photograph. Now, your photograph wasn't high enough resolution. They said it wouldn't match typical. So we had to go, we were put in the blue zone.
Yeah, the blue naughty zone.
So that's what it felt like, the naughty zone.
And we had to go quickly. There was a photo booth around the corner. I had to go get some new ones.
Inside the building, in the same floor. So there are photo booths that you can go. It must happen all the time. People have to go. It was £10 to get a new set of photographs.
I got those done and then jumped back in the queue. And then you're waiting for queue number 2, window number 2. Is that right? Yeah, it is. And there, they take all your fingerprints.
That was really quick and easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just go up, normal process. If you've ever been into America before, they take your fingerprints. That was a few minutes.
Come back out of that queue, and then the final queue, which was the longest by that point, was the queue for the actual interview. And it just snakes around like an airport. You know, you snake around moving. It moved quite quickly, to be fair.
Yeah, because there was a lot. There was about 10 or 12 windows with immigration officers or Homeland Security officers. What are they?
Yeah, they could be that. I don't know. They look very official.
Well, they interview people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was lots of booths, and it was moving quite fast. And we'd read online, as you will, if you're applying for this, you know, it's the interview is only supposed to take a few minutes. Just answer the questions that they ask you. Don't offer any paperwork up unless they ask for it. And it's supposed to be quite quick, really. 2, 3, 4 minutes maybe.
Because they do see hundreds a day each, and they're on a time thing as well. So we rocked up to a window together, didn't we? And the guy sort of nodded and said hello, asked us for all our paperwork. And he just he asked us what our relationship was, didn't he?
That was the first question. You said okay at the moment.
I said, yeah, we're okay at the moment. A bit stressed. No, I didn't want to joke. I wanted to say that.
No, normally you would have said something funny.
I told him what we were,
and
and he just started taking his the paper, doing work on a computer, and
he put his head down and started typing.
And he wasn't our fastest typer, but it started to take an age, and we were just stood there like I felt like two naughty school children.
Yeah,
really.
We didn't want to make small talk. We didn't want to speak amongst ourselves. We just stood there in silence,
and it went on
looking
and on
at our
and
paperwork, and he just kept typing and typing.
And after about 7-8 minutes, he which was an age, he said, "Excuse me a moment. I want to go I'll be back in a second. And he walked off, didn't he?
Oh, and at this point, and just to be clear, this was really, he was inputting information from your
ACRO report.
From your ACRO report. So this, we think it would have been slightly different experience if we hadn't had the criminal record stuff. So and at that point when he walked away, we thought that's it. We're not getting in.
I'm rejected.
But we didn't want to say that to each other in case we're being recorded. So.
Yeah, I think I might have just kicked you slightly and went, oh no. About a minute later, he came back, sat back down, carried on typing.
By this point, we'd been standing there for 10 minutes. Bearing in mind, we've seen everybody come and go. So we were, what is going on here?
But then eventually, he did say to us, he said, can you tell me about what happened with the things that were on the ACRO? And I told him, and he said, oh, okay, yeah. He carried on typing a bit more.
Yeah.
And then he did ask us what our plans were in the States.
Why are you going to the States? Why are you going to America?
And I just grabbed a picture of Walter and I showed it. I said, we're shipping Walter out. And he put his head back down and
kept typing again.
And then finally, he didn't
Without looking up,
he just went, thank you, I've approved, they're approved. And
you'll get your visas back in about 5 days.
Goodbye.
And that was the only question they asked us. We couldn't believe it. All this paperwork was prepared. Like you're almost like, do you not want to see all this?
Yeah, can I show you our itinerary? Can I show that? No, you didn't want to see any of that.
So we couldn't believe it.
I wanted to kiss the glass.
We skipped out there, didn't we?
And of course, we told you earlier, because we'd paid for the passport to be sent, we knew they're going to be sent automatically. So
by courier, and we got them back in about 5 working days' time by courier. And it's just a little, it's just a page. It's like another page in your passport where your visa has been glued in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it. Job done. Yeah. Fantastic.
And that gives us, it's valid for 10 years, your B1 visa. Mm-hmm. And that gives us 6 months.
At a time.
At a time, or up to 6 months. However, the caveat is that you still have to go through immigration when you get to into America or at the border, and it's pertinent to the immigration officer on the day. So we should be allowed 6 months at a time.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
That was our process.
That was it. It seemed. Now looking back, it doesn't seem as complicated. When we're doing this, it doesn't seem as complicated as it was, but it was quite stressful, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and that's it. So we're going to the States very soon. Yeah, we got approved. Yeah. And so we need to get off this hill in Spain. I think we need to start our return journey back to the village, don't you? Yeah. Well, we hope we found that useful. We are going to be posting a few more videos as our adventure continues. Hit that subscribe button and we'll let you know more about Walter on top. Yeah, see us in America. Yay!